Hello friends, I'm happy to be back with you today with another live video. I'm hoping that some of you will be able to pop in and join me, but if you're watching later, that is fantastic too. And I love hearing from you. I love your comments and questions. So thank you. Thank you for watching this. Today I am going to talk about, well, first of all, let me go back and just say, I blog at onethankfulmom.com. I would love for you to read my blog. You are welcome to come and join me there. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter, also as One Thankful Mom. Insta Story is sort of my fun thing that I like to do a lot right now. So if you are on Instagram, look for me there. You can follow me there. So first of all, I'm sitting on my kitchen floor, which you may have noticed, and I have a very specific reason for that. I know it's a little bit weird, but I have a very specific reason. So I will get to that, but yes, I am sitting in front of my kitchen counters on the floor. We'll get to that. In my video on Thursday, I was talking about marriage, and I hope that that was helpful to some of you. I've gotten some really nice feedback about it, but I opened it up to questions, and the questions that came in, there were quite a few questions about running my home and about chores and children, and I thought, I've been a mom for 30 years. I've been raising kids. I have a large family. I've homeschooled, private schooled, charter schooled, public schooled. I have a lot of experience with different things. And through a lot of trial and error, I have figured out what works for me with chores. So I thought, that might be something that would be helpful to some of you as well. Hi, Rose. I see you just joined. Gosh, Rose, we know each other from way back. Anyhow, so I'm going to talk about kids and chores. I'm going to talk about why we have kids do chores, how I do it, and then how to manage chores and household responsibilities with kids from hard places, kids with trauma, because that's a whole different thing from our kids who are completely, did not experience early trauma, maybe are more neurotypical. So I want to talk about all of those things. So first of all, the why of chores. Well, the obvious reason, I'm going to take these off. Obvious reason for chores is that there's just a lot of work to do in a house, and I, for one, and I know probably all of you, we don't want to do it all. We have a lot of responsibility and a lot of things to do, and we have this little work crew in our homes. And if we train our children well and work with them, they can learn how to be responsible for a lot. They're really amazingly capable. So first of all, I want my kids to know that they are valued members of the family, part of the team, part of our community. They're needed to make our home function. I don't want my home to fall into complete disarray, which the irony of that today is that my house right now is fairly messy. Yesterday it looked pretty awesome. Today it looks pretty messy. My high schoolers are doing finals, pretty stressed, doing a lot of studying, and we've had a lot of early mornings. So our schedule's been a little bit off. But generally speaking, staying on top of chores is very, very helpful and something that is important to me. So the other why is I want my children to learn the skills that they need to function in the world and function in life. A number of my adult kids now and young adults are out of the house, and they're always kind of amazed at what they know how to do, what they're capable of that maybe their peers don't know how to do, just because they had to bear the responsibility being members of such a big family. So the skills are important. And lastly, I want my kids to have a good work ethic. I want them to know that sometimes you have to work hard and do really unpleasant things for the sake of just doing a good job. And that is easier with some kids than it is with others. But I still think it's important and it's valuable. So, okay, the how. First of all, young children can learn how to do chores, really quite young. And the thing about young kids is you have to strike while the iron's hot. They're excited about doing chores. They are excited when we give them a little squirt bottle with diluted cleaner in it and tell them that they can clean all the doorknobs in the house or the front of the refrigerator, things like that. So young children are really capable of quite a lot if we begin teaching them. But we have to make it doable for them and make it so that the chores aren't so complicated that they need us to be involved every single moment. So one of the things that helps with that is having good tools for children tools that are sort of fun and exciting. And so one thing I always have, which I left sitting off to the side, I'm just going to leave it, but I always have a small broom. And even though I don't have anybody really little anymore, we still have that little broom hanging in the laundry room. But kids like their, tools that are their size. That's always really, really fun. We had a little foster girl here last weekend, and she did a lot of cleaning with a squirt bottle. I mean, she spent large amounts of time cleaning. She especially cleaned the dollhouse, which was great because it had been in the garage. But that squirting in a rag, super, super, super fun. Another thing young kids like is they like, the cleaning wipes that you can just pull out. Those are great for them because, we did go through a lot of cleaning product last weekend, which I did not care about because she was so happy. But those little wipes make things really, really easy too. Another thing is setting things up for them. And that's why I'm sitting on my kitchen floor, because this question has come up many, many, many times. Why do I keep my dishes in my lower cupboards? So, okay, I did not clean this for you, but I'm just going to show you anyhow. So our dishes are all down low, and behind me in this cupboard, I've got the bowls and the cups and things like that. When I was a young mom, we bought our very first house. I think it was about 1993 or almost 4. I was moving in, and I had some friends from my church coming to help me. And there was a young woman in that group of friends who's still one of my very best friends. And she was from a large family, 7 kids. And she was helping me unpack. And she said, well, why are you going to put your dishes up so high? Because I was just assuming I would put them up high. And I said, well, why not? And she said, because you want your kids to be able to empty the dishwasher. And that was such a light bulb for me. But over the years, I've had so many people ask me about it. So since 1993, the Qualls family, we've had our dishes down very, very low. And what that means is really young children can empty the dishwasher. Do things break? On occasion, really not very often at all. But they lift out the plates one at a time. I teach them how, or Russ teaches them how. He's actually really good at teaching the kids. And they put them away one at a time. They put the bowls away. And, there are all these great skills that happen with that, because obviously I have large plates and smaller plates. And then I've got little bowls and bigger bowls. And they learn how to arrange all of that. Now, I do not get super stressed out about the little teeny details of this has to be exactly sitting right here. If they have 3 stacks of bowls, that's totally fine with me. I just want them put away, and I want the dishwasher emptied. And then we just have a little step stool. The silverware goes up here, and they can put the silverware away, and that's a brilliant sorting task for kids, which I know we all know, but I'm just going to mention it anyhow, because I learned so much from other moms who were older than me. And if I can help you and be that for some of you, I am just honored to do that. So, simple things, dishes down low, having a little step stool, and helping them learn how to sort the silverware. The one exception is I do keep my glasses up high in the cupboard, and with little ones, I just have them set them on the counter, or really little, I just have them leave them in the dishwasher, and I take care of that, because the risk of them dropping it, or I've had, my kids climb up on the counters to put them away, and it's just not really worth it. So another task that young children are really capable of, and this surprises people, is my kids, from the time they're really pretty young, I would say, 7, they do their own laundry. And that surprises people a little bit too. I'll go ahead and shut this now. But really, laundry is so easy for kids to do if we can relax a little bit of our standards. For example, my boys, Ebenezer and Wagayu, they do not sort anything. Lights, darks, nothing. It all goes in the washer. And you know what? It's fine. Most of their clothes are fairly dark colored. If they have something special, they do have a few things that are special. I'll do that for them. I have them throw it into my hamper. And I'll do it because, I don't want them to destroy a special shirt that they wear to church or something like that. But most of their clothes, a lot of what they wear is athletic gear. And, they can all be washed together. So I have them do their own laundry as one of their chores. Now that they're in school, I'll transfer it during the day for them so that it's dry in the dryer when they get home. The hardest part of that, which is the hardest part of laundry for me, is folding it and putting it away. And so I try to make it not too miserable, I'll let them listen to music or to an audiobook. Or if it happens to be like on a Friday or a weekend and we're going to watch a family movie, I'll have them bring their laundry in there and fold it. Now, at this very, very moment, both boys have laundry baskets of unfolded laundry sitting, well, Gaius is in front of his dresser, Abby's is in his room. So that's the reality. Getting it put away is the hard part. But they do a good job of keeping on top of washing it. Folding, young kids are way more motivated to fold than my guys are at this age. They're sort of like, why bother? Let's just throw it in the drawer. That bugs me a bit. So we do try to work on folding and putting away. All right. Another how I do chores is I use charts. I do not want to be reminding my kids of what their chores are every day. That kind of stuff drives me crazy. And very simple charts. Now, I know there are people who like really elaborate systems. For me, I found the more elaborate, it won't last. I won't keep up with it. I've done like extensive pocket systems, and that just doesn't work for me. I know it works great for other people, so that's great if that works for you. But for me, simple is better. When they couldn't read, we would just make the chart instead of with words. It had little pictures so that they knew what to do. But for the most part, I just keep it simple. So I actually pulled my chore chart. I'm going to grab it off the refrigerator this morning. And you won't really be able to see it, but I want you to get an idea of really how very, very simple I keep it. The little Post-its are to cover my foster daughter's name because I use the name, here I'll hold it up a little, you can't really see, but I use the name Zoe on my blog, but I'm not allowed to use her real name. So when I was thinking this through, I actually was saying her name in my mind. So I'm going to be very, very careful to not say her real name. But so this is my chart. So simple. Their names are down this side. Days of the week are across the top. And then I just write in little things. These are the chores, the small daily chores that are to be done before they leave for school. So there are things like empty the dishwasher. We have a really kind of awful old blue carpet in our family room. It has to be vacuumed every single day because it looks bad even when it looks good. You know what I mean? So it has to be vacuumed every day. That's a chore that people do. Wiping down our little bathroom with those cleaning wipes. Just a simple, quick wipe down is another morning chore. So, and feeding the dog, feeding the cat, things like that. We have a barn cat outside, and so we have to make sure we feed him too. Charts. And then on Saturdays, we do more extensive chores. I mean, these are just quick before they head out the door. On Saturdays, we do more significant chores that actually help our house get cleaner. And everybody has a little list that they do. And they have to do those before they go off to play or do anything else. My guys like to spend a lot of time at the gym shooting hoops. And they can do that usually, but not until their chores are done on Saturday. It's a little more complicated with my high school girls who have busy, busy lives, but I expect them also to contribute and still help out with the weekly chores and the daily chores too. Another thing that came up specifically when I was speaking about this last Thursday, I mentioned dinner cleanup. Now, I find if I schedule everything out and divide everything up, it makes me a little crazy, but it also doesn't tend to work very well. And so what I do in terms of dinner cleanup is we just have a policy that nobody's done until everybody's done. So when dinner's over, we get up and we all clean up together, and nobody's excused to leave unless they have a really good reason. And there are actually a lot of good reasons where someone will have a lot of homework or something they have to go to and they're excused. But generally speaking, just every evening we clean up together until we're done. That has simplified my life. I mean, I've been doing this now for over a decade, but I used to kind of partition that all up, like you clear, you wash, you sweep, Now we just all work together until it's done. Unfortunately, Russ is really, really helpful with that, with like hand washing dishes and different things. So that's how we do dinner cleanup. Okay, I'm going to pause here. I want to read some of your comments. So I'm going to scoot forward. It's kind of funny being here on the floor with all of you. Hey, friends, I see lots of you. Martha and Kate and Janae, Lisa. Hey, Kate says, I love that you're on your kitchen floor. Well, there you go. I told you that when I started doing these, you were going to get me as I really am. Well, yeah, here we are. Because I didn't want to have to carry my computer out here and show you, so I just thought, I'll just get comfy on the floor. Okay, Micaiah says, my kids don't fold clothes, which has helped so much, they just put it in the designated drawer. Right, and especially when they're little, seriously, like make a little picture, stick it on the drawer. This is where the pants go, this is where the shirts go, this is where the jammies go. It works great. And most of our kids' clothes, honestly, they don't really need to be folded, you know, and you can always go through after they go to bed and kind of tidy it up so that they don't completely wrinkle everything, but so that they feel competent, that they've done the best job that they can. For my youngest kids, the first thing I ever have them start folding is like kitchen towels and washcloths, just really simple little things that they can fold on their own. Yeah, I see Kendra and Jen, Elisa, Nikki. Hey friends, I'm so glad you came. Okay, so if you have questions, shoot them out to me because I will be sure to stop and read questions as I get to the end. What I want to talk about now is those of us who have kids from hard places, kids who've had trauma, kids who've joined our families later in life, also kids who aren't neurotypical. You know, they may be our kids by birth, but they may have different challenges that make life just a little harder for them, a little heavier weight for all of us to carry. So kids from hard places. First of all, I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, well, several questions. How long has this child been in my home, in my family? If this is a child who spent years in an orphanage, they're not going to know how to do this. And one of my daughters in particular was in an orphanage till she was 10 years old. She knew how to be responsible for one bowl or one plate. She knew how to be responsible for herself. Being responsible for the community, she didn't really have family, but the family of sorts. You know, they had nannies, they had cleaning people, and really the children were responsible just for their own things. And so the idea of doing it for the good of the family took a long time. It did happen, but it took a long time for that to sort of settle in, that we all work together for all of us. So we have to ask ourselves, how long has this child been home? What has their environment been? With foster children, too, they may not know how to set a table because they may have never even sat at a table to eat before. They may be used to eating in front of the television. They may be used to just eating whenever, well, a lot of fast food in the car. I mean, you know, there are all kinds of different things that kids, this will be new to them. So we have to be really patient, and we have to think about how long they've been here, in our families, in our country, in our homes, and where they came from. Secondly, I think with kids from hard places, we have to set the bar low. We want them to be successful. We want to set the bar low enough that they can actually get over it. If we expect them to come into our homes, or even if they've been in our homes for a while, if we expect them to be capable of doing things the way the kids who are born to us, who've had this secure life their whole life, if we expect them to do it that way, we're setting them up to fail. We want to set them up to succeed by setting the bar low enough that they can get over it. And setting it low enough in our minds that we are not stressed out because we're frustrated that they're not doing it the way we want them to do it. So set the bar low. If you have a child who is really challenging, who is prone to rage, opposition, things like that, I think you have to think carefully about what is important. Now, I think if chores, especially in the morning, like these short chores, are going to produce conflict or rage, don't do it. Because then we really are setting ourselves up for a problem. You know, with Calcadon in particular, mornings were hard. And so we learned from her therapist that the shorter amount of time she had from waking to leaving for school, the better. And so when she was little, I would wake her up at a specific time, and it was tight, like just enough time to get everything done and then out the door. Like initially I was thinking, well, I want this to be so relaxed. I want to give her plenty of time. No, plenty of time meant more time for conflict, more time for interactions with her siblings, more time for anxiety to rise about the coming school day. So short and sweet, short and sweet. And so I would not, with a child like that, I would not do any chores before school. If you can get them to be dressed and have some food in their stomach and get out the door, that is a good morning. You know, that's a good morning. It's a good start. Those kids maybe need to do a little chore when they come home. They also may need a lot of support. And so those kids maybe need to do chores side by side. And I'm not just talking about little kids. You know, some of our older kids, if we were to just tell them, go do this, it's not going to happen for a whole variety of reasons. But if I say to one of my daughters when they were younger, come stand next to me and I want you to make a salad and I'm going to show you how to tear up the lettuce and you get to peel the cucumber or slice the cucumber or whatever's kind of appealing. You know, I'm in the kitchen working, they're working with me. That's going to be more realistic for a lot of our kids from hard places. Let me see if there are any questions or comments about that. Let me see. Hi, Christy and Allie and Carrie. Okay, Lisa says, I love the short and sweet approach. Yes. I mean, you know, really, the longer some of our kids have before a transition, the more anxious they get and the more likely we are to have challenges. So the other thing I want to say is let's focus on the big stuff. If you have challenging kids or a challenging life, if you have a husband or in the military or you're a single mom or whatever it is, whatever your situation is, if it's really hard, focus on the big stuff. Don't worry about a lot of these small things. Just don't. Focus on what's really important, which is probably feeding your children dinner. And gosh, it chokes me up, sorry. You know, just being together is way more important than who swept the floor. If you're in a situation where you have the income to do it, hire someone. Hire someone to clean for you, to take the burden off. You know, yeah, there's still the day-to-day stuff. Your children are still going to learn the day-to-day stuff, but hire someone to do the big things. Like, I am terrible at mopping my floors. I need to do it a lot more. But, you know, focus on what's really important. Some of you have so many kids with so many appointments that the idea of having any chores during the week is just impossible. That is okay. Do what God has given you to do in this season. Don't worry about what other people are doing. And I want to add to that, you know, having been a mom for 30 years, when I was young, we did not have Pinterest. We actually didn't have email. We didn't have the internet when I was a young mom. And I'm actually thankful. I mean, Pinterest is fabulous. I have a Pinterest page. But the pressure some of you young moms are under to have these beautifully designed homes and to have everything be so, like every birthday party for your child, everything has to be so Pinterest perfect. Let it go. Just let it go. If you love that and you can manage that in your life, wonderful. If it gives you joy, wonderful. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. And we all survived all through our mothering without Pinterest. I promise you, you will be okay if you don't do a single Pinterest-worthy thing in your entire career as a mother. Okay, I'm going to glance here and see what, let's see, Tanya says, I have a 9-year-old adopted internationally at 2. He's 9 now and seems angry at me all the time. Doesn't matter if I tell him to get dressed for school or pick up toys. He stomps and slams doors and is just angry. Not sure how to deal with that. Do you punish for the angry behavior or ignore it if they do it? Ignore if they do what has been asked of them. Well, okay. Oh, I am not perfect at any of this. I would say sometimes this is sort of the opposite of how I parented before, but some of our kids, their initial reactions are going to be negative, just negative. But then they'll come around and they'll actually do what we ask them to do. And I think for the purposes of connection, we want to be connected and thankful and happy with them for having done that and bring up the poor attitude and things later. because connection is more important than correction. Connection always comes before correction. And sometimes even a little gap of time, I think, is okay. Again, I am not at all perfect at this. And I have some kids that are really, really challenging. And I don't do it well all the time. But I would just say, don't, I would let go of anything that's not essential. Now, really bad attitudes, we do have to deal with that, but maybe not in the moment. Sometimes those things we do better one-on-one with my kids at bedtime or in the car or something when we can talk about it. Okay, let me read another question or comment from Krista. She says, well, Lisa, first of all, says, thank you for the honesty and reassurance. It's okay to let it go. It really is. Trust me, it really is. If you don't mop your floor for ever, well, not ever, but it's really okay. If you're spending your days rocking children, feeding them, meeting their deep needs of the heart, nobody's going to care if the floor is not perfectly clean. Truly, truly. If you have friends who care about that, they're really not your dear friends. The friends who care about that, who are your really good friends, are the ones who come over and they sweep it for you while they talk to you. I've had friends like that, and what a blessing those friends are. But the ones who say, gosh, your floor really looks crummy, they do not understand your life. They don't understand my life. Give them grace for that, but don't worry about it. Okay, now back to what Krista said. We don't assign chores with a chart. Kiddos do helping jobs to earn screen time, and we just work down the list. Sometimes I let them pick or offer how to help. Other times it what needs to be done next. I think that's great. I think giving kids a motivator like screen time that they can earn by doing chores, I think that's great. Whatever works for your family is the right thing for your family. So I think that's a great idea. And I do not like screen time very much, and so I do like to limit it quite a bit. So actually, it's not a bad idea. There are a couple of specific things that might work for me. So great idea, Krista. Okay, Carrie said, I absolutely agree with the short mornings for kids who struggle. Yes. Short and sweet, I'm telling you. If you can get some of our kids, if we can get them out the door without dysregulation, we are doing fantastic. Okay, let me see. Jen says, connection is more important than correction. I love that. Krista says, we ridiculously celebrate well-done jobs like high fives, cheers, and pics of well-made bed get shown to daddy, even at age 7. I love that. Yes, in this day and age, shoot, you could text a picture of a chore well done to a grandparent who's going to think your kid is so awesome. And that's what our kids need, is they need to know they are treasured, they are awesome, they're capable of things, and we're proud of them for what they can do to contribute to the family. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I would love to hear from you, comments, questions. I'm planning to come back on Thursday. I haven't set a time yet. I haven't really figured out a schedule, but what I do know is it's a whole lot easier for me when my kids are at school. Evenings, I have big kids. I go to bed before my kids go to bed. Well, my oldest kids. So for now, I'm going to stick with this kind of daytime. If you want to read more about what I've written about chores over the years, I've been blogging at my site for 12 years. There's a whole lot of content there. If you just go into onethankfulmom.com, in the very upper right corner, there's a little search bar. Just type in chores, and you can read a number of different posts that I've written over the years. I will be back, like I started to see on Thursday. I have sort of a deeper topic that I want to talk about in terms of shame and struggle and suffering in parenting, and not just parenting kids from hard places, but parenting in general. So I'm planning to talk about that. I might change my mind if God just leads me in a different direction, but that's my plan. And I thank you all for coming. This has been really fun. Seeing all your little likes and faces and things going across, that just really blesses me. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'll be back, and I love having you here. I am working on getting all of these uploaded to a YouTube channel. I can't figure out how to do it yet, but I'm working on it. If one of you knows how, message me, because I would love to hear from you. Okay, I'm going to read this comment from my friend Allie, and then I'm going to close. Allie says, my highly anxious child really had healing with joy added into her morning routine. Figuring out what that thing was took a little time, but helped her so much. we would sing a quick song, and I would try to keep music on that she loved before school. That is a beautiful idea, my friend. Allie's an awesome mom of 5, 6. Sorry, Allie, I can't think right now. And yeah, she has really wonderful kids, so we go to church together. All right, my friends, thank you. Thank you for coming. I love doing this. I'm looking forward to doing more. Have a wonderful day. All right, lots of love for all of you. Thank you. Bye.